Welcome to PFT OT on Yahoo Sports. Peter King and Mike Florio talking about various subjects of interest in the National Football League and in the Chargers organization. Intense interest in whether or not Melvin Gordon is actually going to show up. Peter, the team has taken a hard line. There's a sense that maybe Gordon overplayed his hand. Do you believe that he was the wrong guy to stage a holdout at the running back position?
Well, if he wants to maximize his value and he wants to play the full season this year, yes, he was the wrong guy, because I can tell you, having been in Chargers camp, there is no sense, oh my God, we've got to have Melvin Gordon. You know, I've covered a lot of these things over the years, Mike, and I've talked to a lot of teams and a lot of people inside teams, and I just did not get the sense that if the Los Angeles Chargers had to go into this season with a two-headed running back of Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, that they're going to be upset. Just remember one thing, Mike. Last year, it's about 200 touches. Jackson and Eckler combined had more yards per touch than Melvin Gordon had in his 225 touches. And I'm not saying that is everything. All I'm saying is that the Chargers just simply do not believe they are at ground zero in their offense without Melvin Gordon. And so I think he probably could have gotten some more money out of the Chargers, certainly, but he can't be at the stratospheric level of a lot of the highest paid running backs, because I think the Chargers feel like they would rather pay guys on other parts of the team.
There's a small handful of truly special running backs in the NFL, and Melvin Gordon simply isn't one of them. And I'm a big proponent, Peter, of guys getting what they deserve and taking a stand. They take too much physical risk. They have short-term and long-term consequences of those car crash plays, as Chris Sims calls them. But you have to choose wisely, and I think Melvin Gordon overplayed. And now that the Chargers have ended all negotiations, they've given him permission to seek a trade, but at this point we know no one is going to trade for him because they're not going to pay him what he wants. The question is, will he show up? Peter, I think he will by about week 6 or week 7. There's a Joey Galloway arbitration precedent from 19 years ago, which makes it clear that you need to be on the roster 8 games, safely 8 games. Maybe you can get away with 1 or 2 fewer than that, but if you're on the active roster 8 games, you get credit for this contract year. And for Melvin Gordon, what that would do would push him toward free agency or a franchise tag or a transition tag. So I think he'll show up at some point, and I think he'd be wise to show up immediately.
He should show up early because he's going to get his job back eventually. But if they go too far into this season and they're winning, and Eckler and Jackson are playing well, and they're in the 6 to 6.5 yards per touch range, and Phillip Rivers is dealing, I mean, the Chargers are probably going to say, we don't really need this guy. And look, that's kind of heretical to say, Mike, because he's obviously a good football player. But in most offenses in football, with the exception of a few teams, Dallas certainly, but most offenses in football, it's far more important to have symmetry and a great relationship with your players in the passing game than in the running game. And in my opinion, Eckler and Jackson have shown enough so that the Chargers are not scared of life without Melvin Gordon.
And the Chargers made a very real effort to try to get in on the LaShawn McCoy sweepstakes before the Chiefs signed him. Another message to Gordon that they are thinking about life without him, and he'd better think about getting back to the Chargers sooner rather than later, because he's lost a lot of money in fines if they enforce them, but he starts losing game checks in the amount of $329,000 each week as of Sunday. All right, check out more PFT OT on Yahoo Sports throughout the season.